Lifeless horse collapsed and was about to be put down, then a true miracle happened. When Beatrice, the horse, fell terribly ill, and her owners struggled to save her, she was minutes away from being put down. Each moment she spent on the ground brought her one step closer to demise. Luckily, she had a stablemate who was determined to get her back on her feet and save her life. Veteran tried their best but nothing was turning in their favor. But what her mate did left everyone's jaw dropped. Beatrice, a young Shire horse, came unexpectedly close to passing away in the heart of Somerset, England. Though her owners were desperate, the events that followed were astounding. Everything changed for Beatrice and Beau, a mare and stallion who had been longtime friends, on an unexpected day in 2018. Jane Lippington, who owns a stunning farm in Somerset, England, arrived at the stable at 9 in the morning. She discovered Beatrice wailing loudly while lying on the ground by herself. A 16-year-old mare named Beatrice was a beloved horse, and Jane let out a cry of surprise, not believing what she was seeing. She saw that beneath Beatrice's large, smooth torso, her legs were stuck. Her knees stretched strangely outward at excruciating angles, her forehead and nose twisted in agony. She was unable to move. Intense discomfort in her abdomen was subsequently identified as horse colic. She could not have got back up on her own because of the weight of her body, which had forced her down. With decades of expertise with horses, Jane saw immediately the seriousness of this situation. Yelling for her husband, Donald McIntyre, to come and assist Beatrice. However, her legs seemed absolutely lifeless. It seemed as though she had lost all control over them. Donald and 4 stable staff raced to the scene as soon as Jane raised the alarm in an attempt to save the beloved horse. There were 23 unique Shire horses on Jane and Donald's property at the time, and they were all quite popular. However, despite the assistance of their whole stable crew, they were unable to raise Beatrice back up onto her legs. They could not save her with all of their combined power and expertise in helping troubled horses. Beatrice was still utterly helpless to get back up as the hours went by. Her blood pressure and pulse rate shot to desperate heights, and her temperature fell. Each moment she spent on the ground brought her one step closer to demise. Unsure of what to do or how to save their horse, Jane, Donald, and the stable attendants felt lost and perplexed. They all offered ideas about what may be helpful, but none of them proved to be effective. As they looked for answers, their desperation mounted. Everyone in the stable grew more and more frightened, desperately trying to save Beatrice. On the suggestion of their veterinarian, they got in touch with a buddy who had lifted cows before. The buddy showed up with a tractor, prepared to hoist the mare, but they were unable to raise Beatrice despite the use of a strapping mechanism and the tractor's engine power. She weighed a ton, so it was a difficult featuring to their further anguish. All their efforts could do was to turn the ailing horse into a little better position. Beau, an 11-year-old horse, watched anxiously as Beatrice struggled on the ground. He stayed in his stable, unable to physically help. Despite being large and powerful, he remained calm and motionless, not eating or drinking. Vets thought Beatrice might have wanted to focus on receiving help and getting back on her feet. Time passed, and despite efforts, Beatrice's condition worsened. The stable workers, emotional, surrounded her, realizing she might not make it. The news that Beatrice, a 16-year-old Shire horse, might not survive was heartbreaking for the farm. After hours of trying, they considered euthanasia but were devastated at the thought of losing her. In the midst of their concern for Beatrice, they had forgotten about Beau. As the 6th hour approached, they were aware that Beatrice was not getting any better. It was their ultimate choice to put her down. At that moment, they realized they should have opened the door to Beau's stable so the stallion could bid his mare farewell before she passed away. For 10 years, Beau and Beatrice had happily raised 4 colts together, and Beau spent most of his time with her. Given their common past, Jane, Donald, and their team knew that Beau would surely want to spend one more time with Beatrice before she passed away. With plans to open his door and spend one final moment with their partner, they strolled over to his stable. And then there was a real miracle. Bo didn't let anything stop him from running up to Beatrice as soon as they opened the stable door. With a strong sense of resolve, he drove his muzzle in her direction. With unwavering determination, he seized Beatrice by the halter and alternated between tender touches and forceful tugs. This kind gesture gave her the physical pull she needed to get back up on her feet while also confirming his feelings and concern for her. He bit and he bit and he bit, snapping his fangs, begging her to return to him. Beatrice instantly responded to Bo's affectionate support by conjuring up a burst of energy and struggling to lift her drained, heavy body using Bo's hold. At last, with his help, she was able to get back on her feet. Then she managed to stand up straight, much to their delight and excitement. Bo seemed to have accomplished something in 10 minutes that no person had been able to do in 6 hours of intense work. Jane and Donald saw an incredible miracle unfold before their eyes. They had never witnessed a horse rescue another person's life in all of their encounters with them. They were not unfamiliar with touching and uncommon encounters, but this one was very unique. Bo's love and bond with his long-term partner, Beatrice, along with his animal instincts, had enabled him to accomplish something really extraordinary that had left them both in disbelief.